Loads has happened since I last saw you. You've got a whole selection of beautiful looking 2021 Levos that I've just had a look at, and they look stunning. Like that S-Works red doesn't do it justice in the photo, does it, when you see it on the website?
It seems to be always the same with Spesh, though. You see colours and everyone goes, no, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But when you actually see them and get them outside, the colour is really, really nice. The metal flake in it, it just, sends it off. So I must admit, when I saw it, I wasn't overly keen, truthfully.
It's a grower, right?
It's a grower, Rob. Yeah.
No, but I think it's like you see it out and you see that paint flick or that paint speck in the light. And then you've got Expert in a couple of colours. Well, they're all new colours. And that, what is that yellow one is called? Is it Sunset? No, Brass Yellow or something, isn't it?
I haven't even seen one yet, Rob.
It's over there.
Oh, right, yeah. But again, it's amazing because even though it's an entry-level one, everyone wants that colour.
Mm.
So.
And they've gone up to a 160 fork.
Yeah.
How many people upgraded to a 160 fork before?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're listening to riders. And I guess one of the main things today that I wanted to talk to you about is like the massive news for Levo and Kenevo owners for model year like 19 and 20. We've spoke a lot, you and I, like loads on the channel about, these and having issues with these. So what's the deal? What's the news?
As we said last time, that Specialised in Bros, they know that they've had an issue with it, and they've been working on it. They're pretty convinced now that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Offering the extra 2 years warranty, I think is really, really good. I think it's deserved for the customers, those that have invested in the brand and have had the problems. They need to be looked after. If it was any other brand, I don't think anyone would step up to the plate like they have.
I mean, it's a big deal. So essentially what Specialised are saying is anyone that bought a 19 or 20 Levo is going to have 4 years warranty on the electrical components. Is that correct? Like the motor and...
It's an extra 2 years.
Okay.
So if you've got a 19 bike, it doesn't turn it into 4 years warranty. It's an added 2 years on top of your warranty.
Got it. So because it was a 2 year... It was a 2
years from new. So, like if you had a 19 bike...
So 4 years from your point of purchase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. And to me, that says that they're standing by their fix that they've made for the model year 21. So what's the deal with that model year 21 motor? Because they're saying that has got some stuff in it that they've recognised and fixed from the older one.
Yeah, we had a little chat a couple of weeks ago, and they were all quite excited that they think that... I don't want to call it a fix, because at the end of the day, it's all great until you have the first one to go down. If you're testing 25 bikes, the chances are very slim. If you've got 2,500 bikes out there, you've got to expect to have something. So my personal take on it is that over the last few months, things have been changed in the motors, i.e. the sprag clutch, a different belt, and a different main shaft, pedal shaft in the motor. So, as I said last time, we know that they've been working on things, and they've obviously at a stage now where they feel confident that they're on the home straight. So, by offering the extra 2 years warranty, I think is really, really good. They could have done it on a sort of suck it and see basis, but they haven't. And they spoke to a few dealers to start with and asked their opinion. Honestly, do we want too much extended warranty? Not really, because are people going to change their bikes out on a regular? And my take on it is, I think that because technology is moving on all the time, I think it's going to be a bonus for all of us. I think that the extended warranty is going to help the resale value of a second-hand bike. You're going to get guys that going to hang on to their bike. They want to see if we are on the home straight, which is going to kick them into the next year's bike. So I think it's going to be a win-win all round. You know, so many people are having to sell their bikes because of, the problems that they've had. You know, people are worried that even though they spend 5,000 or 6,000 quid on an e-bike and had brilliant fun on it, that when it goes out of warranty, it's probably going to cost them 600 quid for a new motor. So, you know, Mike Senior, he hasn't just sort of laid back and just said, well, guys, we'll see how things go. The guy's really passionate about his brand. He's passionate about his rider. And I always drum this in. That's where Specialized heaps above everyone else, because the end user is the most important person, because they know that if they don't have any end users, they're not going to be able to sell bikes. So that's the person that you've got to look after. So I think by increasing the warranty is going to give the rider that spent a load of money and, you know, doesn't want to be changing his bike every couple of years. I think it's helped them out. I think it's helped the second-hand market for people that, you know, want to dipping their toe in the water, don't want to go spend an absolute fortune. So I think that's going to work well for them as well, knowing that they've got peace of mind. You know, if it's a year or they've got 2 years left, I think it is really going to make a big difference. So.
I mean, what it says to me is they are super confident about all the revisions that they've made, because all companies, cars, technology, phones, everything has rolling revisions in the product life cycle, and they won't necessarily make a press release and a song and dance about rolling releases. But what it says to me is that all the stuff that Specialized and Bros have been working on over the past couple of years, they are very confident now that they've got a very strong product that, you know, touch wood, the failure rate will be much, much smaller, in that they're prepared to say, look, we'll stand by your current bike for an extra 2 years, and if it does fail, we'll replace it for you. So it just means to me that they've got a lot more confidence in the motor. And they posted it on EMTB forums, the announcement, and there's so much positive feedback from people that I think they're now confident that they've got a much longer life cycle of their bike. To your point, there's no kind of fear that they're approaching the end of the warranty or they're out of warranty, and they might have to spend 600 quid or whatever it is on a replacement.
But as I've said all the way through our little chats, you know, the beauty is with Spesh is that they never leave anyone hanging.
Yeah.
You know, I've been flat out today working on a guy's bike that's just travelled 7 hours to come to us. He's had a bad experience.
You've got a lot of fans in the UK now, haven't you, that are travelling. That's a fair old distance.
Yeah, but the reason for it, you know, I had a chat with a very well-known dealer, and he said to me, Chris, you're putting the pressure on all of us other guys. And it's not what we're doing. You know, during lockdown and everything else, we've closed a couple of shops. It's increased our staff. You know, we've got 15 members of staff here now that's working. So that enables us to do what we've been able to do. So yeah, it's nice that we have a little bit of a following. We don't honestly mean to upset any other dealer. We just are passionate about the brand and want the people to be able to get back on the trails, you know. And going back to, the extra extended warranty, my phone has just been flat out for the last few days with people saying, when can I bring my bike in for this new motor? Well, there's a lot of new motors already been fitted, and we couldn't deal with everyone just turning up saying, have I got a new motor? Is this the right one? Is it the wrong one? So when I had the conversation with Specialized, I sort of begged them and said, please, please, please don't go out there and say that, we've found a fix and everything else. I said, because, we're struggling to cope now, and we will just be bombarded. Then obviously it was sort of announced a little bit earlier, and people not fully understanding what, how it is or what it entails. The most common one is, so they're turning the bike down. No, they're not turning the bike down.
As in what, detuning it, you mean?
Detuning it, yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's going, well, surely if it's, just an update, then they're changing it.
So maybe it's important to note, because there's two parts to it, isn't there? There's a hardware replacement if you've got a failure.
Yeah.
And then there's a software replacement that maybe a software update that everyone can take advantage of by going to a dealer. But you don't have to have your your motor replaced unless you've got a problem, right?
Yeah, they're not going to change them because there are a lot of revised motors already out there that's come in newer bikes. Hence why they're not offering the extra 2 years on the 21. I know for sure that if this doesn't work out, then they will do whatever they need to do to make sure. But they're pretty confident that, you know, I've asked, you know, for a long time, you know, what's the fix, what we're doing, you know, where we're going. And everything has been, look, Chris, we're working on things and so on. And it's brilliant because if I was in charge, I probably wouldn't say anything at all. I would just try to get all the new hardware out into the bikes, and then the forums would start following that, well, I've had my bike, I haven't had a problem, and so on. Because we don't know how good anything is until it's out there and it's being ridden by different types of rider, different terrain and bits and pieces. So for Specialized to sort of like put the neck on the line and say, right, if you have this, we're going to increase your warranty, I would say they're pretty confident that they're on the right side of the fence now.
And is it reasonable to think then that people have had a motor replaced maybe a couple of months ago, have had a few changes in that motor already?
Yeah.
But there's been no announcement to say that, right?
No, again, you know, you've got to be careful, Rob, haven't you? Too much knowledge can be really dangerous, you know. If they turn around and said, like, every motor that begins with, you know, RB1 is the new motor, everyone will be opening their bikes, and those that haven't got RB1 will be, you know, flying down the shop. You know, one thing I will say is that with all the, you know, the data collecting that they've been doing for emission control, it's really weird how the actual riders that are using the gears more are not having as many problems. You know, so when you're just working the bike and you see a hill and you know, still in bottom gear and you just flick the turbo button, that's where it seems to be where the failure rate's increasing.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's actually putting more strain on the motor, because you're increasing the torque requirement from it by using the controller as effectively, instead of dropping to an easier gear, you're using the motor to make your pedalling easier. So that's interesting.
Up in the cadence, you know, it's the same as if you're in mission control and you're looking at your app. Just go up a gear and see the way that the level drops and how much power, how much battery use and everything else. That's the, you know, the nice thing is that you can see everything. You know, they've brought an update out now where riders can do, you know, update from their phone and bits and pieces. I wasn't just sure, but again, it's all part of them trying to help the rider. You know, it's sort of a little bit of a self-diagnose and so on. But obviously we won't need that now because it's all good.
Because it's all fixed. Well, I think it's good that they're taking ownership of it. You know, I think that it's probably been quite uncomfortable over the past couple of years.
Horrendous.
Do you remember when I bought in the motor? I phoned you up.
It was you that started it. Yeah.
It was one of the first motors faulty, maybe, I don't know. But it's got to have been quite uncomfortable. And, you know, having met a lot of the guys from Specialized, I know how much pride they take in the product. And it must be heartbreaking to see failures happening when you've put blood, sweat and tears and years of your life into these kind of products, and riders being disappointed that they're failing. But now it seems like it's almost like a turning point, that now they can concentrate on maybe improvements rather than fixes. And also I've read on, as you do, you know, on forums and things, where people have said, I was considering a Levo, but because I've heard about the motor issues, I might look at a different brand. Whereas now I think people's mindset will change completely because they know that there's, you know, these new things that they've been working on to make you feel confident that if you bought that bike, you're going to get a good age out of it, you know, years of life.
Yeah, you know, it's like with us, you know, going back into the sort of 2017 range, you know, you look at it, you ride it, and it's sort of like a bit bulletproof, and it was just like a real fun bit of kit. And as I keep banging on about, we're always having these, few steps forward and then a few steps back. And, talking to Marco, he was absolutely devastated. Now, he was responsible for the Levo and he was proper devastated, And, Marco, his body doesn't understand failure. So he took it really, really personally. But the only problem is that we'd move along and there'd be a couple of fixes come along and then it would highlight another problem. So when we had this chat recently with Specialized the other week, I said to him, come on guys, please don't go out there and say it's a fix. And we can't say it's a fix. It's an improvement. It's an ongoing, improvement to be able to make the brand stronger and stronger. And I won't lie, people have said to me, Chris, we love dealing with you, but, we're a little bit worried about the Bros motor, can we buy another brand off of you? And I've stood by my, gut feeling that the reason people come to us is because we do put ourselves out. Now, from a business point of view, the reason we put ourselves out is that if we just tell ourselves, sorry, come back in a month or whatever, that isn't going to do our business any good. So doing what we do, getting people back on the street is brilliant for us, and I know it offends some of the other dealers that, are not in the position, but we're 100% Specialized. So I haven't got anything else to sell, even though in the other store, I can keep all the other brands or a lot of the other brands. But until another brand comes to me and says, Chris, can you do for us what you do for Specialized? I wouldn't even consider it.
So what's the difference in layman's terms? Are you saying that with Specialized, they take care of the entire product? And you saying that maybe if it's another manufacturer, it will be, if there's a motor problem, you'll have to go somewhere else to get it fixed? What does that mean? I
think because obviously there's a process that you have to go through. And, back in the day when we were on the 17, 18 bikes and not having as many engine failures, nowhere near as many engine failures, there was a system that we had to follow. But, we stepped up, bought a load of motors to make sure that the 24, 48 hour turnaround, we was ahead of the game. So that if you had a problem, you bring your bike in, we put a motor in it, bang, you're back on the track.
And you do that from Specialized, right? You get the replacement motors from...
Yeah, we have to pay for them.
Yeah.
It's during lockdown,
But if you've got another brand, we'll say, I don't know...
we can't say
Bob's Bikes. Bob's Bikes,
yeah.
And they've got a motor from, Bob's Motors. No, we'll call it James's Motors. They're a different company. Would Bob's Bikes take care of everything, or would you need to go to James's Motors and say, look, I've got a problem with this motor? Is there two different parties involved? Because from what my understanding is when there's a problem with a Specialized bike, you've got one point of contact and that's Specialized. Whereas maybe what I'm hearing is from other brands, you've got different places that you go to get replacements. Is that right? And
that is it, bang on. Because, with other brands, with James's and Bob's Motors, you have to plug them in. And it's all about their little uniform of what you've got to do. Well, I need to know what the battery's done. So you take the battery to the computer, you plug it in, the battery won't fire up, so you're not going to get any information. So that's wasted time. As where with a Specialized, is it the battery? Yes, put another one in. So it applies to a motor. Now, we're lucky, and we've got to take it on the chin ourselves because, Specialized, everyone thinks that we have, preferential treatment and bits and pieces, and we really don't. They look after us because, we order reasonably big and we pay our bills. So when through lockdown, I had to increase our motors probably by about 30. Well, at £600 each, it's a big chunk of money. Then through lockdown, a lot of shops were closed and weren't open, and we were then having to take on everyone else's motors, and at one stage when the night that we had our little chat again, I think there was probably 140 motors there that have been changed out, which isn't good. But when you think you're changing for the whole of the country, it sort of brings it back down. And with James's or Bob's products,
it's not the most original bike company name, is it? It's all I could think about in the moment.
I think you've done all right though, Rob. But yeah, with those, the companies weren't open. We were hearing all sorts of things. Oh, Specialized are not open. No, Specialized have been open all the way through, but they're working from their houses, not from Chesington. So, we could get hold of anyone regarding, through marketing, through, rider care, account managers, everything. And with one of the others or with some of the other brands, that they were completely shut down and there was no way of communicating. So, as I said before, I've had to give a guy's money back that, bought a different brand. His battery went down after a week and he was 14 weeks without his bike. That's not really fair.
It's not good at all, is it?
No.
It's not what you want when you're spending a lot of money in something that you want to go out and just enjoy and not have to worry about things going wrong. Cool. It's really interesting to see and hear what's happened behind the scenes, and kudos to Specialized kind of just going out there and saying that we weren't happy with the performance. We deeply care about riders' experience. It didn't work out. We're confident now, and if you do have a problem, we're going to look after you for the next couple of years from when you bought your bike. And I think it's a really, really good signal. So
it is, but everything is a business, Rob, isn't it? So if you just sort of lay back and just go, well, we sold loads of thousands of bikes and we're not addressing the problem, they're going to get left behind. And it's exactly the same with us. There has to become a point where you can't take any more. And if you can't offer that service, or you can't physically look someone in the eye, that's the day that I go out the door. There's a guy, I don't know if you know him, called Rob, does a little bit of YouTubing or something. And every now and then I watch it when I'm bored or something. And,
I thought you were a loyal subscriber, every video.
Am I subscribed? No, some of the bikes that are coming along now, people are closing the gaps for sure. And it's really, really nice to see other brands coming along, more affordable brands, and some lovely, lovely spec bikes out there. And I think the thing with Specialized, they've always had the edge because it never really looks like an e-bike. But it's getting closer and closer now.
Because competition's healthy, but
Yep.
the thing is with this bike, it came out in 2018, really,
Yep.
didn't it? And end of 2018.
Yeah.
No doubt they're already working on the next. They're always working in many years ahead. And it's interesting what you said about not looking like an e-bike, because just before we started filming, a family came in and they were interested in bikes, and Lloyd said these are all e-bikes, and they said these are all e-bikes. They genuinely had no idea that these were e-bikes. They said they don't look like e-bikes. We weren't expecting it to look like that. So you're right.
Yeah, and that's where it's really nice. I remember my first e-bike was a different brand, and I was so excited. A couple of little entry-level mountain bikes for me and my wife. That was the first experience with e-bikes, and the minute I rode one, it was like being a customer. I put a bum on a seat and I wanted to buy it. And over the last few years, things are changing, and the gap is getting a little bit smaller with designs and bits and pieces. But these other manufacturers have got to really up their game now, because what Specialized have come out with is going to blow people out the park.
What's coming out soon then?
I don't know, Rob.
Yeah, you do. Come on.
I know nothing.
2022 models.
They're out now, aren't they?
What about, I tell you what I would like, something in between the Levo and the Kenevo. Because the Kenevo's a beautiful bike. It's big though, isn't it? Big travel. It's great for the Peak District and places like that. Almost maybe a 165, 170 travel, super light. I don't know, something like that maybe. I'm trying to get something out of you.
I know nothing. No, this is where it's really funny because, like, one of our very good customers, he rides in our team in bits and pieces. He sent me a message saying, "I thought we were mates." I sort of read it and I was sort of taken back by it. And so I sent a message back, "Well, we are, aren't we?" And he said, "Well, last week I asked you about the new 2021 and you said you know nothing about it." And I can swear, we don't get taken into a room, we don't get showed pictures, videos or nothing. It's harder now because of, sadly with what's going on and whatever. So the launch has been a bit lapse, really. I got a phone call on Wednesday morning to turn around and say that, by the way, there's a load of bikes turning up. And by the way, the 2021s have gone live on the B2B today.
So this is the 2021 Levo, new colours, new fork, yeah.
And, that's the first that I'd seen of them. And people are saying to me, "Chris, what do you think?" And I'm going, to be honest with you, I haven't really had a chance because they've just been selling. So we've literally been building them out of the boxes and so on. And when I get a chance to, study a little bit more of, the specs and bits and pieces, all I know is that pretty much everything that's come in is gone out the door, pretty quick. But, me, I'll tell the truth. There's some things...
Maybe that's why they don't tell you, because they know I'll ask you and you'll tell me.
No. But there's a few things that I'm not so happy with. Once, we can get up and running and there's more availability of bikes, we're going to start doing Berkshire Cycles changes. So we will explain to the customer, it's been not a price war, but you get people ringing up going, "What's your best price?" I'm pretty much out of that now because I want to produce a product that I think is 100%. So there's going to be some tweaks and changes that we're going to make just to personalise our own bikes and so on. So I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into, some of them because we've just always been banging out and then people come in and going upgrade. And, I think like the Expert, and I really haven't had too much time to, to strip it and have a look. But, the forks, the shocks, they've moved up again, pretty much factories other than the coating, so they are listening. And you always get those people, the price increase. Well, last year, most of the manufacturers had to increase their prices due to the exchange rate changing. Specialized were in a position where they basically bought their euros or whatever and didn't need to do that, so they held it. So if they had had that price increase halfway through last year, then the gap would have been a lot smaller for this launch. But it's nice to see they just haven't decided we're going to throw 500 quid on and not give the consumer the
price is not just on bikes but components as well. So I bought a set of forks from you guys, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe more. Last year, certainly. Yeah, it was. And
did you pay for them?
I did pay for them, Pay for everything.
You did, to be fair.
And the price now is higher than it was last year by about 100 quid, which is quite a decent percentage increase on the same fork and the same model. So it looks like prices on everything has gone up. So you can understand why the bike price has maybe increased.
Yeah, that's it. As I said, no one decides that they just want to throw another 500 quid up because our brand's been selling well so we can make more money. That's, I work the other way. I don't necessarily look at making loads of money. For me, it's more about keeping customers happy. And I think that's applies to a lot of the manufacturers, where they're bringing the gap down a little bit, where they're, some of the bikes that you've done reviews on, and in my opinion, I think you have been honest, that the specifications getting better and better. But it's the main thing on a bike or an e-bike is the motor and the workings, and that's where we want that to keep going. I'm hoping, everyone said to me, obviously, you know, with the hassle that Specialized have had with Brose, they're obviously going to go away from them, and Specialized are not like that. You know, if they're as a partnership, working as a partnership, it's got to be right for them. You know, and I would say that it's probably Mike that would make that call. So all the doubters that, you know, people said that they would never use the motor again, this I think is giving everyone the confidence that they are going to stay with them. Yes, they have, you know, different types of motors that are in the SL, which are really good. I think some of those things are being passed across to the Brose side of things. And let's just hope and pray that, you know, we are at the end of the tunnel.
It's amazing. Well, thanks very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. You've been full on again today, and I'm going to take a look around the shop and take another look at some of these amazing bikes.
What about your racing bike, Rob?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
The Creo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Creo. So I've got the Creo Evo, right?
Yeah.
The one with the gravel tyres. It is so quick. I'm not a road rider. I don't really enjoy riding on the road. I just like to get away from the road. So I've been doing some gravel paths just near where I live, and it is amazingly quick because you've got nothing sapping up your energy. There's no fork or there's no shock on which taking the energy. The wheels are massive and there's hardly any rolling resistance. I was blown away with how good it is.
Well, when we get the chance, if you give me a shout, I'll come and do a video with you doing a bit of riding, and if that works.
We could do like a gravel bike versus a full fat turbo bike, couldn't we?
I'm not so keen on your comparisons. We'll leave that for another day.
All right, mate. Well, been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks once again, mate. I'll have a look around.
Nice one.